What I want to do today is look over the EOC quiz over cellular organelles. The goal is that you learn the process to think through when you encounter EOC type of questions. So the first question is, which of the following statements correctly matches a cell part to its function? And so you can't just rush through here and look at the different functions, because all these functions are correct. It's just they may not be matched up with the correct cellular part. Alright, so let's look at cell membrane. Cell membrane, if you remember, is the outer boundary of the cell. And so it controls what goes out of the cell and what goes into the cell. Only certain things can pass through the cell membrane. And we talked about it as the doorways. It lets things in and out of the cell. Packages lipids for export doesn't match up to the cell membrane. So what does that match up to? Because again, we're going to review as we go through this, not just give the answer. But cell membrane, things move in, things move out. Packaging things, hopefully you remember as the Golgi body. Alright, move on to choice B, because you always read through all your choices, because it's that best answer, because some answers may be better than others. So read through all your choices on every question. Looking at mitochondria. So the mitochondria is a sort of weird looking organelle with a membrane inside of it, and it deals with energy. And when we talked about the mitochondria, we also talked about photosynthesis. But is there a connection between mitochondria and photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is what plants use. It's what plants use to get energy from the sunlight. The energy of mitochondria is ATP. The energy of photosynthesis is glucose. And this is done by plants. Mitochondria goes through a process called cellular respiration. And so this process is not the same as photosynthesis. So B is also incorrect. So now we're to lysosomes. And lysosomes are usually drawn as sort of larger little circles all throughout the cell. And we had a little activity that we did with the making a protein back in the lab. And what were the jobs of the lysosomes? What did lysosomes do? Well, they picked up the trash. They got rid of the waste products. And so lysosomes are always about breaking things down. Another word that you think of when you hear lysosomes is something called enzymes. They speed up a reaction. They speed up the reaction of digesting the waste of the cell. And so C is the correct answer. Let's go ahead and look at D. Why is D incorrect? The nucleus produces energy. Well, the nucleus is the big round thing in the center of the cell. We always say it contains the DNA. Energy, that's going to be mitochondria. And we never said what part of the cell photosynthesis is. That's the chloroplast. And so those are two things to do with energy, not the nucleus. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see was the correct answer. Let's look at the second question. Below, a student drew a Venn diagram to show the three kingdoms of multicellular organisms. In the center of the diagram, the student wants to insert a characteristic that three kingdoms have in common. Which characteristic should the student use? All right, so we're looking at multicellular organisms. Okay, that's a key word there, and truthfully, we could answer from there, but we'll go through the entire process. So we've got plants, we got animals, we got fungi. And our first choice is ingest food. Well, do you know what ingest means? Well, maybe you don't know ingest, but we all know what digest means. It means to break down food. Ingest means to take in food. So do all of these things take in food? Well, animals, they eat. They take in food. Fungi, that's your bread molds and things, they're actually eating things. We've talked about that. Do plants? Yes, some plants do eat food, but they all need photosynthesis. They all are autotrophs. They make their own food. So that means A is not correct. We have B, stationary. What does stationary mean? Well, stationary means does not move. No, plants, they move. No, they're stationary. Fungus, those mushrooms growing out in your yard, they move? No. Animals. All animals move except for a couple of them. And just like with the plants, there are some plants that eat. There are some some animals that move. Don't move, I'm sorry. Well, you're looking for the best answer. So that's not going to be the correct answer. Photosynthetic. Okay, that photosynthetic, that's referring to autotrophs. So plants are autotrophs. Animals, they are not. And neither are fungus. They are both heterotroph, which means they eat food. So a process of elimination, we're ended up with eukaryotic. Well, eukaryotic, what does that mean? It has a nucleus. All things except for prokaryotes do not have a nucleus. So prokaryotes equals no nucleus, which is only going to be bacteria. And so here, what they all have in common is they are all eukaryotic cells, which we see is correct. All right. This is going to finish up the video for questions 1 and 2. I'll have another video uploaded soon for the other questions.